Most people see the comfort zone as a gift, but for me, it became the quiet prison I built with my own hands. When I look back, I realize it didn't trap me suddenly. It trapped me slowly, one easy decision at a time. I told myself I was being practical, that staying where I was familiar meant I was being responsible. But the truth is, comfort was stealing my hunger. It was taking my ambition in small doses, so slowly that I didn't feel anything changing until it was almost gone. I remember waking up one morning, years before Alibaba, and realizing nothing in my life had changed for months. Same friends, same routine, same conversations, same dreams I never acted on. I was busy, but I wasn't growing. I was moving, but I wasn't progressing. And that's the dangerous thing about comfort. It makes you believe motion is the same as improvement. It convinces you that because nothing hurts, everything is fine. But life doesn't reward you for staying safe. Life punishes you for staying asleep. We say we want success, but most people only want the version that comes without discomfort. They want the prize, not the process. I was the same. I thought if I stayed where everything felt easy, I would somehow be protected from failure. But all comfort really did was delay the moment I had to face myself. Leaving my comfort zone was not courage. It was the price I had to pay to stay alive internally. And I learned something many people don't want to hear. Comfort kills more dreams than failure ever will. Failure at least teaches you something. Comfort teaches you nothing except how to stay exactly where you are. That is why I left, because I finally understood that the life I wanted would never visit me inside the life I was protecting. And if you stay in comfort too long, life won't wait. It will move forward without you. The moment I realized my safe life was actually a cage didn't come with fireworks. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, almost embarrassing. I was sitting in a small home, doing the same work I had done for years, listening to the same people giving the same excuses, and suddenly it hit me. I am living the same day again and again. That is when I understood something important. Comfort doesn't protect you from failure. It just delays it until it becomes even harder to face. I used to think I needed to wait for the perfect moment to change. I told myself I needed more knowledge, more confidence, more money, more certainty. But winners don't wait for perfect timing. Winners act before they feel ready. That's the real difference. The people who stay in their comfort zone keep waiting for a sign from the universe, as if success appears like magic, but in reality, the universe rewards only those who move first. I woke up the day I realized no one was coming to save me, no sign was going to appear, and no opportunity was going to knock unless I stepped outside to meet it. That day taught me something that changed my life forever. Discomfort is the first sign of real life. When you feel fear, pressure, confusion, that means you're moving. That means you're growing. That means you're stepping into a place where your future can actually expand. Everything good in my life came after I stopped negotiating with my fears. Every opportunity, every breakthrough, every important decision, none of them happened inside the boundaries of safety. Most people think their problem is lack of opportunity. But the real problem is that their life is too small to contain the opportunity they say they want. You cannot live big while thinking small, and you cannot grow big while staying comfortable. The day I woke up was the day I stopped lying to myself, and that was the day my real life began. For many years, I treated fear like it was my closest advisor. I listened to it as if it were wiser than me. Every time I wanted to try something new, fear whispered, "Not yet." Every time I had an idea, fear reminded me of everything that could go wrong. And because I respected fear more than I respected my own future, I obeyed it. That's how fear becomes a fake god. It demands loyalty, but it gives you nothing in return. I used to believe fear was protecting me. I thought it was keeping me safe, guiding me away from danger. But one day I realized something shocking. Fear wasn't describing the world, it was inventing it. It created problems that did not exist. It predicted disasters that never happened. It made me rehearse failure in my mind again and again until I convinced myself not to take action at all. The truth is, fear only feels powerful when you kneel before it. The moment you stand up to it, you see how small it really is. When I finally stepped outside my comfort zone, I discovered that 90% of the things I was afraid of disappeared the moment I faced them. It wasn't the world that changed, it was me. I stopped accepting fear as truth. I stopped letting it speak louder than my ambition. And once I did that, something beautiful happened. Opportunities appeared where fear once placed obstacles. That's when I understood that courage isn't about being fearless. Courage is about refusing to let fear make decisions for you. Fear controls people who treat it like a prophet. But fear has never predicted my future. It has only ever limited it. And if you want true success, you must dethrone this fake God. You must stop worshiping your fears and start believing in your possibilities. Because the life you want begins the moment fear loses its authority over you. When I finally stepped out of my comfort zone, I realized something uncomfortable. It wasn't just my habits holding me back. It was the people around me. For years, I surrounded myself with people who loved comfort as much as I did. They weren't bad people, but their thinking was small, their dreams were soft, and their fears were loud. And slowly, without noticing, I became like them. That's the danger of a comfortable circle. They don't pull you up. They keep you where they feel safe. I remember telling a group of friends about a big idea I had. I was excited, nervous, hopeful. And you know what they did? They laughed. They told me it was impossible. They said, "Jack, don't make life complicated. Just stay with what you know." In that moment, I felt something shift inside me. I realized I wasn't asking them for advice. I was asking people who were afraid of their own lives to guide mine. And that's when I learned a painful truth. People who fear change will always fear your evolution. Leaving my comfort zone meant I had to leave some comfortable friendships behind. Not because I hated them, but because I could not grow in an environment built to keep me predictable. When you stay around people who never challenge you, your potential becomes invisible to you. You inherit their ceiling, their doubts, their limits, and suddenly the life you want feels too big for the life they accept. But the moment I stepped away from that environment, everything expanded. My ideas felt possible again. My vision grew larger. I met people who didn't laugh at ambition. They encouraged it. That is when I understood growth doesn't start when you change your life. Growth starts when you change your circle. If you surround yourself with people who fear your growth, you will eventually fear it too. But if you surround yourself with people who expect you to become more, you will. Your circle is not just influencing your life, it is shaping your ceiling. And you must decide how high you want that ceiling to be. When people look at my success today, they often say, "Jack, you must have been lucky." But luck was never the reason. Pain was. Pain was my real teacher, my real accelerator, my real shortcut. I learned early that discomfort forces you to grow in ways comfort never can. When everything is easy, you relax. But when life pushes you, stretches you, scares you, that is when you finally meet the stronger version of yourself. I remember one of my first big failures long before Alibaba. I started a small project that collapsed within months. I lost money, lost confidence, lost sleep. And in that moment, comfort whispered, "Go back. Play safe. Don't risk again." But pain had a different message. Pain said, "Look carefully, learn something, transform." And it was that painful failure that taught me one of the greatest truths. Pain is not the enemy of success. It is the engineer of success. Failure is a stepping stone, not a finish line. Every setback I experienced outside my comfort zone sharpened me. Each one stripped away a weakness, a fear, a piece of ego. Success didn't come because I was smarter than others. It came because I survived storms they ran from. That is what discipline really is. The bridge between goals and accomplishment. You push through pain long enough, and you discover that most people quit not because the goal is too hard, but because the discomfort is too scary. Growth never happens in the soft moments. Growth happens when life squeezes you, challenges you, and forces you to evolve. Pain is the pressure that turns potential into power. And if life never challenges you, life will never reward you. Comfort gives you calm, but pain gives you character. And character is the foundation of every meaningful achievement. So when people ask me, "Jack, how did you grow so fast?" I tell them the truth most people don't want to hear. I didn't grow fast. I grew through pain, and that made all the difference. When I stepped outside my comfort zone, I thought the hardest part would be the fear. But I was wrong. The hardest part was the rejection. Suddenly, every door I knocked on stayed closed. Every idea was dismissed. Every attempt was questioned. And at first it felt personal, like the world had secretly decided I wasn't good enough. But rejection is not a verdict. It is a filter. And once you understand that, the pain begins to transform into power. I've been rejected my whole life. KFC rejected me. 30. Companies rejected me. Schools rejected me. Investors rejected me. If comfort had been my home at that time, I would have crawled back to it and closed the door forever. But stepping out into the unknown forced me to face rejection without hiding. I learned something important. Rejection is only dangerous when you use it to measure your worth. The moment you detach your identity from other people's opinions, rejection stops hurting and starts teaching. Each no showed me where I needed to improve. Each failure guided me to the next idea. Every door that closed pushed me toward the door that mattered. You see, the world remembers doers, not complainers. And most people complain because rejection bruises their ego. But winners look at rejection like data, information that helps them adjust, refine, and rise. When you stop feeling humiliated by rejection, you become unstoppable. Comfort hides you from rejection, but it also hides you from your real capabilities. It keeps your life small because it shields you from the very pressure that creates growth. Rejection is not an insult. Rejection is an invitation to become stronger than you were yesterday. And the moment you stop running from it, something magical happens. You begin to see that every rejection you survived gave you the strength to accept the opportunity that finally says yes. I didn't succeed because I avoided rejection. I succeeded because I rejected its power over my destiny. People always ask me, Jack, how do you keep going after so many failures? And I tell them the same thing I learned from the stories everyone already knows but never truly understands. Look at Thomas Edison. The man failed over 1,000 times trying to create a working light bulb. Most people repeat that story like a motivational slogan, but they miss the real point. Edison didn't keep going because he was a genius. He kept going because he refused to return to comfort. He refused to be the man who quit when things got painful. He chose discomfort as his natural environment, and that is why he succeeded. And Steve Jobs, another story people tell without learning from it. When he was fired from his own company, he could have easily gone home, played safe, lived comfortably with the money he already had. Most people would have done exactly that, but not Jobs. He stepped deeper into discomfort. He built new companies. He kept creating. He kept dreaming. Getting fired didn't break him. Comfort would have. That humiliation became his fuel because he understood something powerful. Uncertainty is where reinvention is born. These stories matter because they prove a truth the world rarely admits. Success doesn't belong to the smartest or the most talented. Success belongs to the people who stay in the fight, the ones who keep pushing when the comfortable choice is to stop. Edison didn't find light because he failed 1,000 times. He found light because he didn't hide from the 1,000 failures. Jobs didn't change the world because he was lucky. He changed it because he kept walking into the unknown even after the world rejected him. And this is where you come in. You can admire these stories all day, but admiration doesn't change your life. Action does. Discomfort does. When you step outside your comfort zone, you join the same arena that Edison and Jobs lived in. The arena where possibility lives. The arena where failure is normal, but quitting is not allowed. Your success will not come from safety. It will come from choosing uncertainty over comfort, just like they did, just like I did. Their greatness wasn't a miracle. It was a choice. And now it's your turn to make the same choice. When I finally stepped beyond everything that felt familiar, I discovered a strange truth. The world looks different when you're moving than when you're standing still. People who live inside the comfort zone only see what is directly in front of them. Routine, repetition, predictability. But the moment you take risks, the moment you stretch your mind, your world expands. You begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before. It's almost like the universe reveals a different layer of reality, but only to those who are brave enough to step into it. I didn't understand this at first. For years, I watched other people succeed and wondered, why can they see what I can't? But the answer was simple. I wasn't moving. I wasn't trying. I wasn't failing enough. When your life never changes, your perception never expands. But once you leave your comfort zone, your brain wakes up. Suddenly you start seeing patterns, possibilities, strategies, risks sharpen your senses. Discomfort stretches your imagination. This is why the world feels unfair to people who stay still. They think others are lucky, when in reality, others just live with wider eyes. There's a saying, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. But here is the hidden truth. Opportunity doesn't visit everyone. It visits the ones who are already on the road. That's the secret knowledge I learned too late. People who move gain instincts that comfortable people never develop. They learn to read people. They learn to detect trends. They learn to sense timing. They become sensitive to chances others walk right past. Most people fail not because they lack intelligence, but because their world is too small for big ideas. You cannot expect to see more if you refuse to live more. Opportunity is not magical. It is perceptual. And perception grows only when you push yourself into places that scare you. When I stepped into the unknown, the world opened up. And it made me realize this. The comfort zone is not just a place. It's a blindfold. And you won't see your future until you take it off. When I left my comfort zone, I expected to face challenges from the outside world, competition, obstacles, failures. But what shocked me was how much of the battle was happening inside me. Fear, doubt, anger, insecurity, these emotions didn't disappear. When I stepped into the unknown, they grew louder. And it was in those moments that I realized something essential. Success is not about controlling the world. Success is about controlling yourself. If you cannot lead your own emotions, the world will lead you anywhere it wants. In the early days of Alibaba, every small problem felt like a disaster. A lost deal, a broken website, a frustrated employee. These things would shake me more than they should. I reacted too fast. I took things personally. I let my emotions make decisions for me. And every time I did that, I made mistakes. But slowly, through experience and discomfort, I learned the skill most people ignore: emotional discipline. I learned to pause instead of panic, to think instead of explode, to ask, what is the smartest decision? Instead of what feels good right now, that control didn't make me less human. It made me more powerful. When everyone else froze, I could move. When others complained, I could act. When things collapsed, I could still think clearly enough to rebuild. Emotional control became my competitive advantage, the invisible strength behind every bold step I took. The world remembers doers, not reactors. And most people fail simply because they let temporary emotions destroy long-term goals. The comfort zone protects your feelings, but it also weakens your discipline. Everything feels stable, so you rarely learn to regulate yourself. But once you step into discomfort, your emotions become louder, and that is your chance to master them. Power is not in having no fear. Power is in refusing to let fear decide your future. True leadership begins inside. Once I learned to lead myself, the world finally began to follow. Your emotions are not your enemy. But if you don't discipline them, they will become your prison. Control them, and you unlock a level of clarity and confidence the comfort zone can never give you. When I look back on my life, I realize that the comfort zone never contained my future. It only contained my past. Everything I ever wanted, every dream, every ambition, every breakthrough existed just one step beyond what felt safe. The moment I chose to leave that safety, life opened in ways I could not have imagined, and the truth I discovered is simple, yet most people never learn it. The world will never hand you your dreams. You must step out and claim them, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, even when it feels impossible. I found success not because I was smarter than anyone else or luckier than anyone else. I found it because I refused to stay where my dreams couldn't breathe. I refused to settle for the easy path, the familiar routine, the life that made me feel safe but empty. Comfort protects your feelings, yes, but it also kills your potential. Staying safe keeps you small. Leaving safe is the only way to grow. The moment I embraced uncertainty, my life began to expand beyond imagination. Every challenge, every risk, every moment of discomfort became a stepping stone to something greater. I tell people that fear, rejection, failure, and pain are not signs that you are on the wrong path. They are proof that you are on the right one. Success lives outside comfort. Growth lives outside comfort. Real life, real achievement, real impact exists in the spaces that make most people turn back. And when you finally accept that, you stop negotiating with your own fears. You stop asking permission from the world to live fully. You step into the life you were meant to have. So I left. I left comfort. I left predictability. I left the easy life behind. And only then did everything I had imagined become possible. That is why I tell you today, do not seek comfort, seek growth. Do not seek safety, seek possibility, because true success will never be found inside the walls you build to protect yourself. It waits for you outside, on the other side of fear.